Welcome back, you guys. This is the Art School Graduate Podcast. Today, let me tell you about this guest. He's an Oakland-based designer, creator, director, visual artist, founder. What else could I say? I don't know, but he is a man of many talents and gifts. He has over 20 years of experience as a true multidisciplinarian. And my guest today is Mike. Mike, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Wow, I guess I am a lot of those things. Sometimes you know when you work, you sometimes don't get a chance to look back
Right.
on things. You just go.
Yep.
And so I just been going, like literally
Yeah.
from the time I graduated high school in '94. I just been going.
So let's talk about that. You've had this layered creative journey from illustration to brand strategy to editorial design. Like, what sparked it for you? What sparked that love of design for you?
So a big part of me going to say hip hop. Hip hop is like my through line of everything that I've done.
Same.
But on the subconscious level, right? It's my curiosity of the music at a young age made me understand, like, what is this art I'm looking at, right? And back when I was growing up in the '80s, in the early '80s, hip hop presented was a package, right?
Right.
Like when learned about it, I learned about graffiti and breakdancing and DJing and rapping all at once. Now it's kind of focused on the rap aspect. So when you're looking at hip hop from a cultural perspective as it relates to art and expression, you're seeing all of these different things. So who's doing that? How's the artwork being made? And so my dad is a visual artist, or was a visual artist. He passed away in 21. I didn't grow with him. Him and my mom divorced when I was like 4 or 5. But so it's sort of in my blood too, just making art. And
Yeah.
I remember seeing him like painting. You know, I was really small. Just this visual of him just like paint like a canvas in front of him and him paint. I still see that visual right now. And so I would say that hip hop inspired me to want to be a part of something, to create something.
Right.
So if they're doing it, I could do it too. I'll say definitely seeing my dad paint when I was a kid, knowing that he's a painter, hip hop coming around during that time, and this children's book magazine called Highlights for Children or for Kids.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a magazine. You had to like read and do stuff in it. Like it was a very like active sort of media platform. So in print, but yeah.
Oh, okay. So you mentioned hip hop, and hip hop has they do a very good job of storytelling.
Yeah.
So was it more of the artistic part of it, or was it more of the storytelling that caught your eye to bring you into the design calling?
So probably the story, the artwork for sure, because the colors with the graffiti and seeing just the imagery around that was very, inspirational. I remember hearing White Lines by Melly Mel. At the time, I thought it was, It was Grandmaster Flash and Melly Mel, but it was just Melly Mel. And I remember, white lines, don't do it. I thought it was about a train. I thought it was about the train because I knew of New York. That was like a railroad track train, right? But not knowing it was about drugs. And so I just remember seeing that. Fat laces, and what I would do is I was trying to draw these things, right? I would draw like sneakers. I would redraw like characters I would see, on the album covers. And I would say those were the things that more of the art aspect of it all, and the dance. I love dancing as a kid. The music, the beat. I feel like the beat and the rhythm sort of like was the gateway. And then knowing that I always like to draw, I was like, okay, now I can make these things that I see.
Okay. So you're talking about your process now of like what you see and then emulating it. Okay. I see that.
Yeah.
So let's stay in this design process area. So you've said that your process is still rooted in early days of design. Is that the thumbnail sketches, the drawing it out, the research aspect of it, or are you part of this new generation where you can one click, drop it into Chat GPT and it's done.
I just it's funny. I use GPT now to edit stuff. Not so much for visual, more of like my writings. I use it to edit. So okay, I'm trying to say this. Can you make this make sense? That's really how I use it as a proofreading tool. But yeah, I still, for the most part, I design as if I'm back, in school, in the 90s, and so because I still, that's when I do it that way, it allows me to stay true to my aesthetic. You know what I'm saying? Because if you jump into Canva or Procreate, they have all these templates for you. You just got to just move things around. So how do you identify your look and feel, your vibe, your aesthetic?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I consider my sketching like a fingerprint. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's
Yeah.
so therefore, if I'm trying to convey an idea to you, I can convey it a lot quicker as a sketch for you to buy into it. So at the time I'm on the computer, I'm whipping it out like I'm Chat GPT. You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause the work is already
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Most-
work is like with the
most
coding is
definitely.
already done with the sketching, with the drawing, and just getting those raw ideas out. Because I think when you start moving on the computer, you start want to make it perfect. You know what I'm saying? You try to get
Right.
your pixels to line up, but you're
Yeah.
missing the point. You're missing the point
Right.
when you're doing it that so
Absolutely.
far in advance, right? And so that is like way down the road, and so I
Yeah.
think me sketching and I always try to say is that I like to design as if I had no computer, as if there was no computer. If my Wi-Fi goes down, if the lights go out, I can still design. I'm not
Right.
hit.
Right.
So by the time the power come back on, I already got all my shit sketched out, laid out. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready
Yeah.
to go, right? And so yes, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but yeah, I definitely
No,
started it like if I had no.
it totally does, because even in my classes now, I bring that up, and they think it's like I was like, "Yeah, you need to do 50 thumbnail sketches," and they're like, "Thumbnail sketches?" I'm like, "Yeah, that." I was like, "Trust me," and sometimes these you see their face because they're so attached to the digital aspect of it
Yeah,
that when it's like I tell my class, I'm like, "You need a sketchbook." "Why? This is
yeah,
graphic design." I'm like, "You need a sketchbook." I was like, because your phone will distract you when you're sitting down, writing down ideas. You write down the color codes. Once, because it's something between writing and texting it that your brain tends to remember more of. So it's funny that you keep, yeah, see, look.
but no,
Yeah.
because even when I take notes working on any kind of project, literally I will write it out on a notebook, in my little notebook, whatever,
Mhm.
retype it in Google
Yeah.
Docs, and then move it over to design software. It's like
Oh yeah.
a three-step process. So therefore, I know the
Yeah.
history of this thought. You can't you can't
Okay.
you can't like trace it back to just Chat GPT, or you can't trace it just back to Illustrator or Photoshop. You have to trace it back to the
Right.
source, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
With, like this notebook, this drawing, and this yeah. Anyway,
I'm the same way. Look, I am the same way. I sketch it out. I write it more before I actually start doodling. Like I start writing out the thought. And I think a lot of students, what I'm trying to get them to understand now is like, you got to cut that off and let your brain be free for just like an hour. Just give your brain freedom for an hour to come up with it. So yeah, man, I totally get it. I had those professors in college that were the old school ones that was like, I need to see 200 thumbnail sketches. 200 of what?
I remember in college, in 90, this part like 98, 97. It was a logo design class, and we chose whichever logo that we were going to rebrand. And at
Mhm.
the time, they chose Bath and Body Works, or no, not Bath and Body Works. No, it was another one that's not around anymore.
And-
Something like
oh,
body,
mm,
something in that realm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I chose Kinko's because I worked there, right?
Yeah.
Because not Kinko's is now is FedEx office, but I picked Kinko's, and we had to draw 50 sketches. Dude, we didn't touch Illustrator until the last 2 weeks of class. The last 2 weeks
Yep.
where we actually touched Illustrator. And so,
Right.
but with that being said, and I'm curious how you are with your students, is that maybe because I've been doing this over 20 years, I don't necessarily have to take that long of a time to get my ideas out now, right?
Right.
And this is okay, so you're hearing this first. I've never told anybody that. This just came to me literally a couple days ago.
Okay. Love it.
I think I'm done working on logos and branding.
Mm.
I think I've hit my mark because what's been happening lately is that I would do this branding for a client, like go through the whole process. Here's the brand guidelines, here's the logo, iteration, boop, boop. Here it is, go for it. And because I'm not sort of with the after the handoff, dude, by the time I
Yeah.
see it, them use it,
Different.
it looks different. All of these guidelines I gave you to write
And out
no
the
idea
window.
went out the window. But then there's
Yeah.
a client I had, and they did the damn thing, right? And so like, oh,
Yeah.
this is great, but
Yeah.
now I just feel like that part of my life, I feel like I'm going to shift away from doing this brand identity because it just I just
Mhm.
don't. Sometimes I work with certain people. It's like you may not need me. You may just need to go to Fiverr. You may not need me to do
Right.
the thing you need, right?
Right.
You may just need a
Right.
cool font, lock it up in that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
Mm.
curious for you, like how you think about it, but it's like I'm personally like shifting away from like going through that whole process because
Yeah.
by the time the client gets it, they may not even use it unless it's for like this huge like client that has all of
Yeah.
these touch points where it has to get updated. But I don't know.
Yeah. So I think I can give two answers to that. So the first one is I agree with you. I'm on the cusp. I've been teaching. This is my 15th year teaching.
Yeah.
And so I teach high school and I teach college.
Mhm.
And so now I'm at the point where I am brushing up on technology because technology is changing.
Mhm.
The tools are just becoming more polished. There was a time where the pen tool wasn't on the toolbar. You had to go up to the top bar window, like you had to do that. So that's why I think it's just refining, like learning the tools
Yeah.
and now understanding how to incorporate them in the practice, in the work. Like
Yeah.
I have some students that come in, they're like, "Hey, can I do my sketches on Procreate?" And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do it on Procreate.
Yeah.
Let's see what you can come up with.
Yeah.
And so I'm learning that aspect of it.
Mhm.
And I believe I forgot who I talked to. I want to say it was, Dr. Cheryl D. Miller. She explained
OG.
dealing with clients like that, where it's like, oh, you don't want a logo because it's like they need help with something else behind that. They need help with the story,
Yeah.
the idea, because because she even said she's dealt with people when she had her own firm that would be like, that's not what you came to me for. You want I believe it was her that shared that with me, that sometimes having that sit down and being very clear can help you decide whether or not it's actually a logo or if it's hand holding through this step of designing a marketing campaign or branding or something. So I'm on that scale of, and the last thing is like, I know we both probably understand it, even though I'm 37 and you're 49. We've seen so many renditions of logos and marks, typefaces, fonts, type styles, strokes. We've seen it all because we've designed it all. And before computers, we had to get it out of books.
Yep.
A lot of it came from books for us.
Yep.
And so I think all that information is still in those books because it hasn't translated to the internet files yet.
Yep.
So I think for us, it's like when someone comes to us and they're like, "Oh, I need a logo for a food truck." And you're like, "Oh, okay, what is it?" Because you already have 30 thoughts in your head based off of whatever it is. "Oh, I need a logo for a makeup company." Cool. What is it? Like, just give me the name and I'll give you 3 mock-ups that you can pick from. Like we have been there because we've literally spent, it's almost like, what do they call it? That thousand jumpers or 1,000 hours in the gym or
Or the what's the guy Malcolm Gladwell
well,
with the
yeah.
3 point
Yes.
10,000 hours?
Yes, 10,000. We've hit our 10,000 hours. So it's now when people ask us, it's a very easy thing. And our thoughts can be very different from what a computer can give us, or even from what a new design student coming out can give, because now they're piggybacking on other things, like that.
Yeah, man. It's and I think just on a personal level, like the amount of effort that I know it should take, you know what I'm saying, to make a mark right.
Yeah.
I just don't know if maybe I haven't had the right opportunities to be a part of that, what that looks like. But I think I'm now ready, even outside of the process or outside of how things are changing with technology. Like I think I'm ready for something else now, right? And I think
Yeah.
part of the reason why, bringing Umber back, whatever was a thing is okay. All right, I think I've been doing this now for 25 years. Um,
Yeah.
and there's a way to where design is in service of someone else. It's a service. It's a service job, right? It's consulting. It's a service job, and but you always are kind of like conveying somebody else's idea, right? Trying to help
Right.
them navigate that, right? So at some point,
Yeah.
how do you navigate your own ideas? So I say, oh, well, let me make a logo for myself. Or let me do something else for myself or stuff like that's sort of kind of where I am right now, And so I still love doing design work and client work. Like I love being able to help somebody convey their story, right? That's still important
Mhm.
to me. But just finding a way that's doing that that's more in line with my joy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally.
my identity, I guess.
So how do you stay like creatively inspired and adaptable with you loving to do the old school way, but you see how everything is pulling technology will pull you out or leave you behind. So that's why I'm curious, because you're saying like you love doing it, but it's just like, okay, well, how do you stay creatively inspired then?
The world is big.
Mm.
There's so much out there. Right, and there's so much I'm learning about myself. So how I stay inspired is I'm curious. I'm always curious. My mind never stops working, and I'm always music is always inspiring me. Seeing other designers or creatives is inspiring me. Film inspires me, right? And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
when you're looking at it from that perspective, everything is opportunity to have everything you looking at. Everything you're looking at is opportunity to tell that story from that perspective. And
Right.
so I stay inspired by making my hip hop beats. You know what I'm saying? I stay inspired by meeting people. I'm interviewing people for Umber. Like I stay inspired by being inspired by somebody else's like story and seeing how
Mm.
our stories are similar, right?
Right.
And I think, I'm never short of ideas. Like it just
Yeah.
sometimes I used to get annoyed, like, dude, another idea, Mike. Come on, dude, you need to stop. Sometimes I just wanna
Yeah.
I used to work UPS in college in Atlanta. And I always make this joke, like, I either want to be like super successful doing my thing or work at UPS. This middle shit is not cut.
Does not work.
Doesn't work.
Right. Yep. I think we all have been there.
Yeah, like if I stayed at UPS and I would have been retired by now, right? You know what I'm saying? I would have been got my pension.
Yeah.
I would have been doing something else. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Yeah.
yes, I think I stay inspired because I'm curious. I can't never stop thinking of ideas, and I'm always curious about having learning something new, and taking a
Mm.
deep dive in that understanding, and then finding these. It's almost like we can like travel the world, and we can go out of space, but if you just do a deep dive in the ocean, you see some shit you never seen before, right?
Very
You know
true.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
Stuff like that keeps me going, knowing that
Mhm.
I've been in Oakland now for 17 years, going on 18 years. I'm sure there's a place I had never been to, and I'm curious about what that is and what will I see in what of it will I see in myself, and vice versa. What new thing I learned about myself by going into this neighborhood or going hiking or
Man.
seeing somebody speak. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Wow. So you would say driving your creativity right now is literally just wanting to know more, wanting to explore. Yeah.
I back to hip hop, like, you know, being a fan of hip hop all of my life and learning the idea of making beats. Well, I started making beats in '97. I was 20 or something like that. And then say, oh, who's on bass? Who's on drums? Who's on the saxophone? Who's the producer? Where is it produced?
Uh,
Right? And then this person on bass, he has this whole other band. this person on keyboard, she has a whole other band. It becomes a rabbit hole, a fractal, right?
Right.
And so
Yep.
it just becomes like this thing. You just go deeper and deeper and deeper and find these new like pathways of learning and sound. And so just the nerd in me buying vinyl, seeing Herbie Hancock, who's on this. Ron Carter's on bass. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, that part gets me excited. You know what I'm saying? Makes me want to make something, right? Makes me want to emulate what I see.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? It's all right. Okay.
Yeah.
If Herbie Hancock has this song, right? How do I make a designed version of this song? How would I make a poster to represent what the song is
Based off of that.
like an illustration or something, right? And so it's the hip hop in me. I want to sample. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to sample shit and remix it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like
All right. Yeah.
that's what it is, man.
So here's a curveball. Your top 5 MCs.
Oh, that's not even curveball at all. MF
Who?
Doom.
MF Doom.
MF Doom.
Yes.
Fonte of Little Brother.
Everybody loves Fonte, Little Brother. Yep.
Black Thought.
100%. Philly's finest.
Ghostface.
Oh, man.
And Guru of Gangsta.
Really? Guru.
Yeah, like Guru.
Wow.
He I remember
His monotone flow.
Say again?
His monotone flow.
Oh my gosh. But when I was a kid growing up, like I said, I didn't have my dad was around, like Gangstar, he was like the older uncle I never had. And he was suave and premier with the beats. And just how we learn his shit from Guru, right? And so like there were just I just remember different points of my life listening to his music or listening to Gangstar. You know what I'm saying? From the first video of I Manifest to the third album, A Daily Operation. I remember being in junior high, listening to it in my cassette player. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he means so much to me. And I miss him. Right? I saw him perform like 3 times. And the last time I saw him perform was in Paris, dude.
Damn, that had to be like a beautiful experience.
Dude, like, but it wasn't because he was sick. He was older. Like this was a year before he passed away. So you could tell he just was not in a good space. But yeah, Guru, man, like talking about jazz and hip hop. Come on. Like he blended it. He blended it, right? So he had the edge of the street, but he had the flair of jazz, and so he just was that perfect mix, you know. So yeah, man.
So your top 5 albums.
Oh God, now you got me.
Yeah.
Hip hop or of any genre.
Let's stay with hip hop. Let's stay there.
Okay. So definitely Ghetto by Arabic and Rakim. God almighty. Figaro by MF Doom on Mad Villain. Jungle Music by J. Rue the Damager. First album. I got 2 more. Oh God almighty. Oh, Who's Gonna Take the Weight by Gangstar. 1 more. Come on, I know I got one more in me. One more. Something that Stakes is High. De La Soul.
De La Soul. Yep.
Oh, that was good.
My favorite.
I did it. I gave you 5.
That's good, man. Sometimes when you put people on the spot, they just kind of freeze, but you had it ready.
Oh my gosh, man. Because I have my top 5 songs of all time, right? Which is across all genres. And Ghetto by Arabic and Rakim is one of them, one of the top 5 of all times. So I remember that song. Once again, stories, dude. Like when that song came out, that's when I realized I liked East Coast rap. That's where I realized that I grew up in the South. I grew up in Charlotte. And that year,
East Coast.
2 albums. Growing up in Charlotte, you either listen to Miami Bass or Ghetto Boys. Those are the 2 things you hear the most, right?
Yeah.
In Charlotte when I was growing up. When Arabic Rakim released that song called The Ghetto, Too Short also had a song called The Ghetto. Both talking about the ghetto, but in 2 different perspectives. And the way that Rakim started off first, I'm like, Planet Earth was my place of birth. Born to be the sole controller of the universe. That's how you start a song? That's you doing it? Really?
Yep. He went there. He did it.
So like, okay, I think I like this style of rap music. I think I'm like, this is going to be my bag, right? Because back then, MC Hammer, NWA, Ice-T, all the things, right? But that was like, oh, I think I like this lane, what they're saying, the beats or sampling songs that my mom would play. You know what I'm saying? Like it just had a different, it just resonated differently. And so, yeah, man.
Yeah. Wow. We just had a cool little trip through time right there. Turn this into a hip hop podcast real cool.
Man, dude, shoot, don't, man.
So let's talk about this creative piece you built with Umber.
Yeah.
You know, you built this creative cultural platform. So can you explain to us the brainchild behind it? Like what was the start of this?
Back my senior year in high school, I always was a fan of magazines. I think most kids were a fan of the magazines back then. In '93, Vibe magazine came out, right? And Vibe magazine was started by Quincy Jones and some people. And I just remember the first cover that came out was Snoop Dogg on the cover, and it said "Bow Wow Wow" on the cover. And this is not the source. This was not every. It just had a different look. It was just different, dude. A different experience visually. I'm not really reading the articles, but I'm just seeing just the layout. I was like, this is incredible. I mean, back then I knew I wanted to be a designer, but at the time I think I was just focused into illustration was my focus.
Mhm.
So fast forward to went to art school in Atlanta for illustration, left there, transferred to a school in Chicago for visual communications where I focus on design and branding, all of that.
Uh-huh.
And then in this school in Chicago, I'm learning about all these art magazines like Immigrant and Nest.
Yeah.
And, you know, all these sort of like, and Ray Gun, all these different kind of like grunge sort of like
Yeah.
art magazines. Oh shit, this is dope. I love Immigrant. Immigrant was like all about fonts and layout and being experimental. It was just a different kind of vibe of the
Right.
of a magazine. So then fast forward, I'm living in Philly in '06. And I'm still buying all these art magazines and print magazines, but I just not seeing enough of people who look like me in these magazines, right? Little footnotes, right? I'm like, it's almost like you're looking for like that bonus track on the CD. Like, oh, found one, got it. So I have to read 15 different magazines just to get enough of representation I'm looking for to know that I'm not alone. Like you said, like, am I the only one out here? There got to be more than just me.
Right.
So I was like, what if I put them all in one magazine? Right? All the different people and give it basically doing a black version of Immigrant, the magazine who I really love a lot, right? But then giving it that hip hop feel of vibe. And so in '06 is when the idea for Umber came about. And at the time I was like, I want to do this print magazine that's focusing on typefaces and designs and hip hop and art. I mean, it was framed of that. The black man's perspective of multiculturalism was how I envision it, right? And back then, this was before diversity, inclusion, all of that.
Yeah.
I was like, so that's where the idea started in '06. And then fast forward about 6 years later, I still had this idea. I was percolating. I was like, I gotta find an editor. So I'm like reaching out to different writers and trying to figure out, hey, we'll do this magazine and then do this one time. I reached out to this woman. She was the editor for Huffington Post Black Voices. I forgot her name. No, I think I know her name, but I don't need to really say it at this point. And hey, I got this magazine idea. It's called Umber. And like, if I pay you $500, could you edit it? She was like, $500? We're on the phone. I'm at my job. I'm like in the parking lot of my job up, downstairs, talking to her. She was like, but everyone wants to do a magazine, so why is your magazine special? Come up with a budget and a business plan and then come talk to me. Click. Dude.
Damn.
I was like, holy shit, I haven't did anything yet. I didn't cuss her out, but I was pissed at her, right? But she told me what I need to hear. So then I was like, all right, let me just make a prototype. So I made this prototype of Umber. All the text was from Wikipedia. I just like put a shit. W.E.B. Du Bois, I put some articles in from him, Malcolm X articles from him, what it means to have passion. And then one friend of mine wrote something, and a friend of mine did some photography for it, made 100 copies of it, just giving it out to friends. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? Oh, this is cool. Some people make all these edits and shit, like, and I use Times New Roman for the body copy.
For the body, yeah.
I'm like, why nobody don't use Times New Roman? I'm going to do it and freak it. It wasn't free. It was like, why use Times New Roman?
Now you're like, I get it. I
I
understand it.
I see why now. So then eventually, that was in 2012. Did another 5 years later. Actually, in 2016, I came off of a breakup, and I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do. Trump got elected that year, 2016. Oh fuck, well, now different. Oh, but now's the time to do it. So then in 2017, I got a bunch of my friends together, came up with figured out a plan for Kickstarter, started a Kickstarter campaign, raised the money,
That's dope. That's
got the first issue of Umber printed in 2017.
that's dope. That's
So
dope. That's
that's
crazy.
that's like how it began.
Yeah. 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 So being that it's, started in Oakland, and we know the culture in Oakland is crazy, especially for Black and brown people,
Mhm.
activism and creativity.
Yeah, yeah.
How has the DNA of Oakland shaped Umber?
Huge, because I'm not from here, right? Like I said, I'm
Mm,
from the South. I lived in Atlanta, Chicago, Philly, moved out here.
yeah.
And when I moved out here, I didn't know anybody. I have a son, I co-parent,
Mhm.
he's 14 now. And my thing is I'm very cautious of like showing up at somebody's city and like taking up space. I don't You got to be invited, or you got to be humbled when you're coming in. And in the time that I was here from '08 to oh to 2016, whatever, I built this beautiful friendship with and community with Oakland, right? And by this
Mhm.
point, people knew me because I would do design work, and I've done branding stuff for folks around the city. So I'm like, oh shit, well, I don't have a dope group of friends. You want to be a number? Literally, it was like, you want to be like all of my friends. You want to be a number? You want to be a number? Like anybody who was dope, come on in, right?
Yeah.
And so I really feel like Umber was me giving the offering to Oakland too. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm gonna take up space. At least let me bring something to the table. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
that's what that. So Umber definitely was rooted. The fact that the idea sparked in Philly, but didn't
Yeah.
really come into didn't really come into fruition until I moved to the Bay Area. Oakland was definitely like a huge part of it, man. And I think one of the things that was important for me too is that when I was doing my Kickstarter campaign, I would get love in Oakland because they knew Mike. So they knew me and they knew
Yeah.
what I represent. But what about LA? Dude,
Right.
during the campaign, I did this 2 times, but not time when I launched it, I would drive down to LA and I would just pop up to all of these bookstores, magazine shops, cafes, like, hey, here's this concept of a magazine I have. When you think about it, go up to Mocha. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I'm trying to see
Yeah.
if it hits outside of where I'm from or where I'm based. And I was able to get Umber sold in place of Highland Park and Mocha. Their bookstore sold Umber for some years, and this place called Rep Club down in LA, Soul Umber and Hennessy and Ingles. So like I was like, I'm getting love here in Oakland, but I gotta see what's happening down in LA too. And so, but
Yeah.
definitely Oakland is a huge part of the grounding of Umber. And when you're in Oakland, do you meet one person, you automatically meet 5 people, just like that.
Right. Yeah.
And so everybody is a
Mhm.
very somewhat of an echo chamber because everybody's into the same sort of aesthetic and vibe, but
Mhm.
the activism, the community, the social justice framework of Oakland definitely supported me doing Umber. I never Umber was never really a political magazine. It was political, but not political. It's political because he was a black man doing this print magazine in Silicon Valley. That in itself is
Right.
politics, right? And highlighting folks
Right.
that wanted to speak their truth. That's
Mhm.
kind of where it ends in terms of being a statement. But yeah, man. So yeah, Oakland is like a huge part of Umber, man. Like if it wasn't for Oakland part, I don't know if I would have, just those
Wow.
things combined made it
Yeah.
real, right? And now it's like,
Made it.
okay,
Yeah.
now where does Umber go now? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
where is that
Right.
the original vision I had in Philly? How do I bring that back to what I've been trying to do for this past since 20, well, damn near 20 years.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
20 years, dude.
Yeah. That it's you literally built a movement with the magazine.
Wow, man.
You built a movement with that. And so by building this movement, which you probably just did it just for the love, off the strength, you didn't really weren't looking for many handouts. And so now you've built this, I would say, behemoth for people of color, because we didn't have Jet and Ebony aren't around to do this anymore. So it's crazy how its role has turned into like a much larger and creative cultural landscape. Did you intend it to do that, or was it more of, I'm gonna put it out there and Godspeed?
Gospel, like, dude, this is what it was. Back to the idea around designing for other people and stuff, right? Like, and I don't know if you ever went through this, is that where people realized I was a designer. Oh, you do my logo? Like, did you see my
Yeah,
work?
yeah. Yes, yes, yes,
Do
yes.
do you even know my style? Do you even know
Oh,
what
God.
I bring? You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
almost like, and we can get into this later, but it's almost like a black-owned company. Okay, black-owned,
Yeah.
now what? I got that, but
Right.
what's the offering, right? I need to know what the end product is. And so I'm like, wait a second, man, I need a space to flex. Do all of the 10 issues of Umber. I designed all of it. Like every layout, cover. The only thing I didn't do was the writing.
Oh, that's dope.
I mean, I did some of the writing, but most of the writing I would hire writers, I would get photographers, and I would highlight different artists, but I really didn't have artists make art for them. But no, I had
Mhm.
like 3 artists, right? But all of Umber, all the layout was me. Cause I was like, I need to show y'all what I'm working with. Y'all need to know what I'm bringing here, right?
Yep. Yep.
And what ended up happening is that when people realized was, oh no, you did it. I just like
Yeah.
together. I didn't know that you actually made the thing. Then Umber became a case study for me doing other kinds of work, right? So, oh well, can you do this magazine for me, or can you work on this annual report based on what you did with
Yeah.
Umber, or you did these events? Can you do an event for me like you did with Umber? And so
Yeah.
I would just realize I just want to make a magazine. I wanted to, and another reason why I wanted to do it is that people didn't know that I draw, I illustrate. I love drawing portraits. I love drawing faces. So like, well, shit, let me design my own magazine and illustrate in the magazine. You know what I'm saying? Let me give myself my own platform to kind of free.
Yep.
And so I realized that I just want to make a magazine that look like me. I just want to make a beacon to see if I'm the only one out here.
Dope.
And
Yep.
then all of these other things around, community and having these events and having these conversations and these panel talks and these other sort of like activations came like that was I didn't do it for that reason. But I had to do these things to get people in to understand what I'm doing with the print, right? So,
Yep.
so those things were like sort of secondary. And then
Yeah.
what became secondary became like the access point to Umber, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You come to an event, I would have these events, like for instance, in 2019, we did our sound issue, and I did a partnership with Bandcamp because they had a headquarters here in Oakland, downtown Oakland. So I had people who were featured in the magazine perform at their headquarters in Bandcamp,
Oh, that's dope.
right? So people
That's dope.
came to the event for Bandcamp for Umber, didn't realize that I did Umber. They're like, Mike, you did this? They just came because
That's cool.
either their friend was performing or someone invited them. They may have knew me or heard of me, but they didn't know that I was the one who sort of like put it together. But that wasn't my intentions. It just became an offshoot of me wanting to make this print magazine. So yeah, I did it for myself. I did it for me. Like
Hey, that's dope.
because nobody else is doing it.
It's so
So I
dope.
don't understand.
Right.
Even you mentioned Ebony
Right.
and stuff like, I remember going to the offices of Ebony, in Chicago. I remember walking up in there, Johnson & Johnson Publications. Whoop, whoop, here I am. And it's like, if I can print out 2,000 magazines with my own money, y'all telling me y'all can do nothing? I mean, I think they just print, Essence or Ebony did some things, the past couple of years, but at the time,
Yeah.
but I get it though, right? Print, there ain't no money in print, or at least suppose there's no money in print. Advertising, the dollars are down. People are online. I get all of that, but it's like if I could do it,
It can be done.
it could be done.
Right. What are some of the biggest challenges you faced with keeping Umber authentic? Because when those ad dollars start coming in and people willing to pay for an article, and it's like, what are some challenges you faced in this growth process with Umber?
So, like I said, Umber was all out of pocket. I get a design project, 10 to 15% of that money goes into Umber, right? We didn't really have an ad until the last issue, our wealth issue. Up to this point, it was no ads, right? And so, I mean, we did partnerships for different events, but there was no really ad place. Like, the idea of a magazine was to sell ads, period. That's
Right.
why it was created, to sell ads.
Right.
So when people complain about like 50% ads, and in the magazine, that's what it was for. That was the internet before the
Yeah.
internet. I didn't make Umber to sell ads. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And so I was like, I don't want to be relying upon ads to get Umber printed. What
Right.
I mean though is that making
Any-
sacrifices
Yeah.
and this shit going. And so
Right.
keeping it authentic wasn't the challenge in terms of the representation of in terms of the content. It was the framing that became a challenge.
Mm.
So
Right.
I got on Instagram because people told me I should get on Instagram.
Mhm.
My vision for Umber back in '06 was that when you see it, you get it. I don't
Mm.
have to say this is black or brown people. I don't have to say this is black
Right.
owned. You just open up the magazine, you see, oh shit, there's number black or brown people on here. That was the intention of it, right? Because of social media and the culture in the Bay Area and the DEI, like, oh shit, I gotta say black owned. I gotta say black or brown people. I gotta
Mhm.
have to sell it, right?
Right.
I never want to do that, dude. I want you to just see it and get it. I don't want to like push that. I always tell people I never wanted to pander to us. Say if you're with your
Yeah.
family, right? Everybody in your family is there. Everybody is black or brown. You're with your family. You ever say, "Oh, as a black man," but no, you just talk your shit. You just say what you want to say. You don't have to give
Right.
it that framework because you're with
Right.
family.
Right.
That's why I wanted for Umber. I never want to lean on that. That's what I was saying. Like, yes, black owned, but don't buy Umber because it's black owned. Do you see yourself? Do you feel something? Is it something resonating for you? Do you see
Yep. I see that.
shared experiences? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really what is for it. So, because Umber is not for everybody, right? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I think the challenge was when I started shifting, let me say the things I need to say. Let me say the things because people were
yeah.
saying it. That was where
Yeah.
I got thrown off, definitely during like 2019 and 2020 and all that.
Yeah.
That's when it shifted. And so now I want to get back to my original idea. Like this is
Mhm.
you belong where you're invited, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
the thing is that I'm creating space for us to see ourselves, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. It's not for you then, right?
You're right.
I don't want to convince you, right, that we matter. That don't make any damn sense to me. I'm sorry. Just if I got to convince you, then dude,
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
you know,
You're absolutely right.
I'm trying to do this for us. So when we come to Umber, we have a home, we have a space where we feel seen and heard, where we're not,
Mhm.
or we're not basing our engagement on hot takes or
Drama or any of that.
drama or reactions to shit that happen. Like this is trying to evergreen content. How do we archive our
Mhm.
stories from our perspective that feels authentic to how we would speak to each other? That's really what Umber is.
Right.
Like if you're talking to me, the way that you're talking to me is going to be different than how you talk to somebody else. The way
Right.
you're talking to me is going to be different from how you're going to talk to a non-designer or a person who is
Yeah.
a person of color or black. You're going to talk
Mhm.
different. Well, when you're talking to me, so when you read Umber, I want you to feel like you're just having a conversation with yourself.
Conversation.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're just like, oh,
Conversational. Yeah.
this is it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's what really Umber really came down to is when we have our events, when we have these release parties, we have panel talks of people who are featured in the magazine. And this is where the real dialogue happens, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's where it really, really happens. So that's what I want. What is that space
Mhm.
between our conversation? How do we take me and you talking, and what is that thing in the middle?
Right.
little nugget, that synergy, that overlap of a Venn diagram. What is that?
Yeah.
That Umber is really
Yeah,
about that, right? And so,
that middle space.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what's next for Umber 3.0? Where are you at with it now?
So this time it could not be any greater because basically Umber is going through a rebrand.
Okay.
And probably will launch it officially in June. Like the whole new logo, and the logo is new, but it's not new. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
it's getting back to the sort of roots of the origins of Umber, and really
Yeah.
really wanted to center our space around art, design, and music. That's
Oh,
where
okay.
we want to. That's
Yeah.
what we're dialed in, and I would say that going forward, Umber is vibe from the '90s, National Geographic, gray. Those
Okay.
That's what Umber is
Yeah.
going forward. And like I said, what I'm getting out of, like I just want us to be, man. Like just I want
Yeah.
us to be our true
Mhm.
selves. Not feel like we have to to add any kind of like hashtags to what we want to say. Just say well, just not want to feed it to the
Yeah.
algorithm.
Just do it.
Just do it. And
Yeah.
so going forward, Umber will, like I said, we'll go to rebrand. We'll bring up Umber back. So we'll still do our print editions will launch next year. So dude, you get all the scoops. You get all the scoops.
That works for me, man. That
Um,
works for me.
but yes, it'll launch next year with the new print edition. Is going to be biannual, so you can get a subscription. Have some digital content that will support the print magazine. The print magazine will be a different
Yeah.
experience than online. Like it's not going to be 1-to-1, even though it's talking about
Okay.
even though it's focused on the same person. You know, I'm talking about Johnny in the print one way. You see Johnny on digital is going to be a different experience, right? And then also art.
So are you turning
Go ahead.
so are you turning the digitals kind of into like a blog? Or is it more of like a actual like article that gets mailed out? I
It'll
mean,
be
emailed out.
yeah, but it'll be more so like if you go to New York Times or you go to Pitch.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like
Yes.
definitely in the
Okay.
editorial space. I may
Yeah.
use some blogs on, Substack, you know what I'm saying? Maybe shift from like MailChimp to Substack for some of our like
Yeah.
other stuff. But yeah, so this would be more of like if you're going to National Ge- National Geographic or New York Times or Pitchfork, like that,
Right.
that's what you'll see online. And the part would be a paywall. I just want to say that. And then with the print would be like these beautiful art pieces that you see for coffee table experiences.
Yeah.
And then our events, of course, we're going to always have to support our digital content and
Ooh.
our so yeah, so that's really what the new kind of focus is going to be with Umber. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited to get back to why I'm doing this,
Yeah.
my origin story, and not feel like I need to like keep up with the Joneses. You know what I'm saying? I feel
Right.
like there's a space for, I mean, I don't know if you've been hearing, there's just been a conversation, particularly in hip hop journalism, to where nobody's talking about the music. Everybody's talking about the drama or the
Yeah.
stuff around it, the gossip, wherever, but nobody's
Yeah.
talking about the music itself.
Right.
And I want to have that space. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and how do you make sure you get people to click or look at it? And that's where
Yeah.
the ecosystem comes into play, right? That's where the event
Yeah.
come into play. And like I said, Umber is not for everybody. I'm not trying to get everybody, right? I just want to get the people that are looking for it. You know what I'm saying? And so
Right.
now the thing is like making sure that if people are looking for it, they can find it.
Man, that's perfect. And they're gonna find it. They're gonna find it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, and I need to get out of my hermit, dude. I'm a hermit, dude. Like deep down, I'm a hermit. I like to be up at the crib, yeah, in the studio working or at,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
that's a new sort of way for Umber. Wants to just really get back to my origin story, dude.
Yeah.
And leaning into the hip hop aesthetic, art, and design, and music. Having to be the focus, and not just when I say art, design, and music, not just the end result, the culture that made that music, the environment,
Right.
the historical context of how this art was made, right? Because then when you
Yeah.
learn that, you get to hear these stories from the creators of the thing that they're making.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of times people just want to focus on what they created versus who they are as a people. Who they are as a, who they are as a people is probably more important than what they created. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, man.
That's dope. I can't wait for that. I will definitely support and I will definitely shout you guys out on the pod because I that enticed me because like we spoke before we started recording is just like the reason for the podcast, the reason for having these conversations. And I feel like you're very much tapping into now the tactile aspect of having hard copies of this conversation.
Yeah.
So we already know we can have the digital.
Yeah.
Now we can have the tactile that it gets passed on.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be beautiful. That's going to be really beautiful, man. I can't wait for that. I'm excited. So let's see. You said some pretty profound things, but this one kind of stuck with me.
Mhm.
You said abundance comes through collaboration.
Yeah.
Break that down for me. Or do you have any examples of something that has happened that kind of made you really hone in on that phrase?
I mean, I think what Umber is a big is a big part of it. And so when you are working on the things that I love about a magazine from Jump with design aspect of it is that there's so many different things that comes into the layout. There's the text,
Yeah.
the illustration, the photography, the layout, the stories, all these different components make this thing real. And so to be able to be humble enough to collaborate and share your vision with somebody else for them to give their insight on what they see on it, that's you're creating this ripple effect, right? So it becomes
Right.
abundant in that scope. And so when I as much as like I said, I'm a hermit, I stay in my own space.
Yeah.
Dude, when I collaborate, like shit be happening. Like it just it swells up. It's the fractal. It is the reverse fractal. Versus going in, it goes out. It keeps going out, right? And so
Yep.
with that abundance of collaboration, if you have these whoever you are collaborating with, they're going to tell their friends about it, and then they're going to like
Right.
it
goes.
it goes, right?
Yeah.
And when
So-
when I'm working on Umber and I'm in my zone, sometimes I forget about the world around me. I'm just like,
Yeah.
But when you're collaborating, how do you collaborate and still be in your zone too? Knowing that other person's doing their thing too, right? So there's a rhythm that's happening when you know that both people are working on this one thing, but in different points, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's like going to the gym. You're like, I'm trying to get this weight up, but then you see somebody else doing it, then you just feel more power. Listen to music when you work, whatever that thing is, right? And so that's what I say for abundance. This collaboration is that I always felt that me designing Umber is my art practice. Like I said, I really want to flex in Umber. But in order for me to do that, I need to collaborate. I need text from the people. I need photography. You know what I'm saying? I need the illustration.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like it forces
really
that synergy.
It forces, community synergy. Yeah.
Yeah, because
That
we're all
really
connected.
does.
Dude, we're all connected.
Mhm.
And then there's nothing like anytime you see any kind of magazine or album, all those people who are like executive producer, the mixer, the engineer, all these different people, that makes the thing. Team sports, basketball, football, baseball, wherever, that makes the thing, right?
Absolutely.
But when I do that, even when I'm doing Umber going forward, I gotta remove my ego.
Okay.
It's about the
Is that the I was
vision.
gonna say, it has to be about the vision. Because I was gonna say, you don't want to feel too sensitive that it turns people off.
Well, not that. I don't want to feel like, oh, look at Mike, I'm doing all this stuff, whatever. Like,
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
you turn people off, that's fine. Then the part wasn't meant for you. That's fine.
Right.
What I'm saying is that that's something we want to be really, really cautious of as this new, I get it as my vision, and I get it as like, I'm going to have like pride in doing this. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have pride of being the founder and CEO. I'm going to have pride in that. But it's, if you're working with me, with Umber, I'm actually working for you. You know, because like, it's like, you're not, I'm working for you. Like I'm like, thinking like, I'm going to set the vision. I remember this one man that told me this, where we're like, I set the pace and I clear the path. That's my role.
Yeah.
This is how fast me to go. Let me move this shit out your way so you can get it done. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is. So I just want to make sure that everybody is buying into the vision for Umber. You know what I'm saying? And I want them to see themselves in Umber, because when you see yourselves in Umber, and that's back to my point about the circumstances that create the art. If my car breaks down on the road to go and record this album, everybody has the experience of their car breaking down,
Right.
whether you are an artist or not. So you're gonna see, oh shit, this famous artist is just like me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they're human. Yep, they're human. They're touchable.
Human, right?
They're human.
And so it's important to make sure that when we tell the story of something being made, we get to see ourselves in that story.
Yeah.
Potentially, that would give us inspiration to our own shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's why this is needed. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I just know that I'm not the only one who feels this way. And so I say all this to say, like, I'm trying to make sure that my ego is not all up in the shit. And I'm gonna be prideful. I'm gonna have my, my little swag. Like, I did this shit, but it's like, it's the vision.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself in this vision? Do you see yourself missing something? Then let's shoot for that, right? And then we'll both get there, and then you may want to get there and do something else later on, right? And so, yeah, man.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. That's really good right there. So being that you've been in this game 20 plus, and you've been in all these different, I know hearing that, I had a funny conversation with another friend of mine, and I was like, you know what's crazy? My students call me Unc. I'm Unc now. I was like, damn, I never thought I'd see the day I'm Unc status. So, hey, so you've been here and you've been in these places and spaces. You've spoke at Where the Black Designers Are, the AIGA SF Design Week. What are some common themes you see emerging in design and culture now?
Well, in the Bay Area is a particular focus on diversity and inclusion, right? DEI. Particularly within Bay Area is really focused on tech. I don't know how it is in LA. I wonder what, I feel like down there's a different environment or design as a creative. I feel like in LA there's a more collaboration across different industries in creative, but I feel like
it's more of that.
It's almost like
it's more of that.
Social justice or tech or social impact. Those are the three sort of spaces. So the thing that's keep coming up a lot is AI. Right, I think is diversity and inclusion and AI. And so, like I say, the Bay Area, those are the things that always comes up for me. And there was one point to where when I would go to a lot of these spaces of designers, the focus is always on product design and UX design. And it's like, I don't really do that. Like, I don't.
Right.
It's not really my jam, right? So I would feel sort of left out in some of these conversations because not a lot of us sort of print for designers, you know what I'm saying, in these spaces, right? A lot of us switch in UX, right? I had a friend of mine, I saw him switch literally in real time. And that shit was hard. Cause he was a little bit younger than me, right? And so I saw like, okay, I'm like with the GA, General Assembly, and all these exclusive workshops, wherever to switch over. And like, it took him about 3 years really to make that switch.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But then he ended up doing work like, in Amazon and all the different places, product design. But I just saw how his work looked different. I'm like, dude, but where's your creative stuff? He was like, nah, but this is what they want to see. They want to see the lines and the wireframes and the Figmas and but you're losing your culture a little bit. You know what I'm saying? In that. You're losing your, but he's like he played the game. This is what they're looking for. And so there's always a conversation around product design. How does AI affect us as designers in DEI? I'll talk about the AI a little bit and then I'll get into DEI. So AI, like I said, when it first sort of like popping off as a visual artist, I was like, oh, fuck you. And I was doing their portrait.
I think everybody had that.
Like, but you're taking my job. And it's like, dude, you don't really illustrate this. Why are you tripping? And when you see, it looks like you could tell that it was done by a machine. Like it doesn't have that. You could just tell, right? So,
13 fingers,
huh?
I said 13 fingers, 2 double irises.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it's
wild.
probably gonna get better, right? But I think our minds will be able to discern that. Particularly as it comes to
Yes.
art. Photos, I know
Right.
it could be a little tricky there. At some point, I did a mushroom ceremony for Umber, October of last year. Yeah, okay, I'm trying to do this Umber thing. Okay, what should be different? This is like my third time doing it with this woman, and I'm not a hip. I'm not in that. I'm from the South. I'm in North Carolina. Like we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But I was wanting to explore this, and in that journey, it was like, don't be afraid of the machines. No, don't be afraid of the robots. And it kept saying, the wrong people are feeding AI. The wrong people are feeding AI. So if AI is going to learn from somebody, I'm not saying I'm the one that should be learning from, but at least, you know what I'm saying? I can feed in some stuff from my
Yeah.
POV.
Yeah.
I mean, so I've been feeding it from my POV, right? And not so much like tell me what to do, is almost like, this is what I'm trying to say. Does this make sense?
Got you.
Oh
Got you.
no,
Yeah.
you could this is a clear way I'm saying. Okay,
Mhm.
bet. But I'm still giving it, it's back to the sketch.
Yeah.
I'm still sketching it out.
Right. Yep.
I'm still, well, I told you, look, I write
Yeah.
it down,
We do the same thing. We write it down at first.
type it, then I shoot it
Yeah.
up to the chat GPT to make it make sense. Right? And so
Yep.
that's how I've learned to embrace it for myself. And my goal is at some point, if here's my sketch, here is my drawing style or my finished style of what I've done. Chat
Yeah.
GPT, put this up in your system. Now take my sketch
Right.
and finalize it. That's what I'm
So you're feeding it the right information.
It's like that's what I'm hoping to do in the future. Like, all right, here's my style I did for this art project. I want to draw this way all the time. This is my final result. Here's my sketch, and give me the thing I can edit. Like an illustrator, dude. Oh my gosh, you ever see the illustrator? Like,
Yeah.
here's my sketch. Here's my style. Give it back to
Yeah.
you so I can make the final edits. What are we talking about?
Hours saved.
That's how I feel like as designers, particularly designers of our age, my age or your age, like that's how we can sort of embrace it and not feel like it's taken over.
Hmm.
Um,
Mhm.
and then with the DEI stuff, that always comes up in the Bay Area. I knew it was a trend, dude. Back in 2018, I was on this panel, and I'm like, you know what? It's a trend for now. Then until something comes around and it's gonna, when it's unimportant. And I've always said is that, and maybe I'm a little privileged in knowing that I'm doing my own thing. I'm not working in these environments. So there's a little
Mhm.
privilege with that. I'm not chasing after this particular status or one to have a seat at the table. I'm going to be making my own table. Or now I'm making my own ecosystem. Now I'm making my own infrastructure. Forget the table. We need the own infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
I personally would feel like if I'm working at a job, as long as you treat me with respect and as a human, get my paycheck and go home. I got a mama, I got friends, I got family, I got a
Yeah.
community I can hang out with. I don't think I necessarily need to have that in where I'm working. But once again, this is my POV, right? And so versus you're like, because you can say diversity and inclusion, but then when you get there, the culture doesn't even like support what you're trying to. You got me to come in there, but then it's like your whole foundational upbringing or foundational top down isn't really that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, so you promised me this. Now I get here like, damn, shit, y'all got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Right.
told me it's gonna be cool, and now I'm here and it's not cool. Cause I've been going to these
Right.
places. I go to places like, oh yeah, I'm trying to get a job here. In these offices, man, I don't feel like I don't want to work here though.
Right.
But
It
I
happens.
never,
It
I
happens.
always left jobs. I never, dude, every job I ever had, I always left, went do my own shit. Every single job I had. I was like, oh, yep, time for me to over. Time for me to do my freelance work. I'm tired, y'all. So once again, that's just my POV of it. But I have friends who
Yeah.
work at Apple and these big tech firms and Google,
Mhm.
the Whoop, and I get that. That's never been my goal to like put on LinkedIn. Hey, I work at Apple now. Like that's never been my jam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I worked, I'd probably do it. Just 'cause that's what you do. But that's not
Yeah.
what it is. And so I feel like, so that's just my sort of take around that to where it's like, AI try to merge as much of you into the process with AI, so you're not just relying on it. And then with DEI, like, I never really, once again, it's back to the whole thing, like, if I have to convince you,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather you be authentic and just be you. And just like, well, this is, I'd rather you not, like, promote yourself to be this thing that you're really not.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That is very true. Don't promote something that you're not. Because it's funny how I think culture is shifting towards they want the authentic now.
Yeah.
Like all the lies and jokes and BS is kind of like it's affecting people at a different rate. And so now they're like, okay, where are the real people at, please?
Yes, yes,
Come here.
yes.
Because I saw this one thing, it was a meme that said, you better start taking care of yourself because your future doctor is using Chat GPT to pass med school. I was like, oh my God. Exactly.
Cause that's real though.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
that's
it really is.
it's a. I mean, there's this. I don't know if you follow this guy on Instagram. Who's 19 Keys? Have you heard of him? Like,
Yes.
yeah, like he's like sort of a speaker, motivational speaker. I think he raised in Oakland and St. Louis. Sort of comes from the Black Muslim perspective. Anyway, he's been saying this whole thing about it's time to save yourself, right? Sort of
Yeah.
mantra, you know what I'm saying? And so, and I get what he's saying. Like, it's almost, I totally get what it is that however whatever, I just feel like this current administration, Trump and all that shit, wherever, like, it's reflective of maybe how the most of America really is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
just a true, like, this is, don't get into it. This is sort of like where, you know, he just being who he is, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he's also, you know, he's a reality TV star. I mean, that's, so we're getting, you know what I'm saying? That's what we're getting. And so this is the time for you to be if any time to be the most authentic, this is the time. Like, this is the time.
Man, yeah, that's very true. This is the time to just put your best creative foot forward,
Yeah, man.
I think,
Yeah,
because people are looking for that.
yeah.
Wow. But yeah, so let's talk about a few more things before we wrap this up. But what piece of advice would you give young creatives who are trying to find their purpose and voice? Because what you just said is like, don't be somebody you're not. Don't put out work that's not authentically you.
Yeah.
So what piece of advice would you give this younger generation coming up behind you?
Your origin story. Look at your origin story. Like, look, what is that? What do you keep referencing in your life?
Mhm.
What do you keep going back to? Right.
Mhm.
I keep going back to hip hop. So hip hop is always gonna be a part of that. I keep going back to, you know, these things that are physical things, right? And so as you're getting older, as much as you can, or look back on the things that you reference, look back at your origin story, look back at
Yeah.
when you were the most passionate about something. Now, how do you take that passion? And I want to be careful. I want to be very passion can put you in places where you don't want to be sometimes, right? When you're so passionate, like you just where you're exhausted,
Yeah.
right? You don't want that.
Yeah.
But how do you take the good of that? You know what I'm saying? How do you have that passion with restraint? Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, oh, I never love this. Let me just, and then you could build it up
Yeah.
as it goes. But how do you just make that small thing with a small adjustment? And so I'll say you have to go back to your origin story. Remember why your why. And
Yeah.
if you haven't figured out your why yet, go back to the thing that you're passionate in, right? Because those different touch points, benchmarks in your life, whatever, will tell you your why sometimes.
It's like those success stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, if you're living now, that is a success. So what are the key points that kept you on your track? What was the key points that kept you inspired, that kept you engaged? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then the shit wasn't, and things are doing the opposite, list those down too and make sure you don't do those again, right? And so I feel like really tapping into your origin story,
Yeah.
you know, recall what you're passionate in. And then through that, you could probably can find your why. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Could use it starts around and, you know, your teenage years, right? The hardest years, you know what I'm saying, is where how you find your why. Like junior high was really hard for me, wherever, but there's area where I can. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was me drawing
Yeah.
graffiti. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There was me with my MC Hammer pants. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
those touch points are the things that will help you find your why. So
How do you measure your success versus now and earlier when you first started doing things? How do you measure? Where do you see it?
dude, I live in the Bay Area and I'm freelancing. I got a studio in West
In
Oakland
the Bay.
and I have an apartment, a whole other apartment.
Damn.
And somehow I make it every I ain't gonna say this shit was hard. It'll be hard where like I don't know my rent this month. I figure it out. But so that in itself is a success. Me making Umber, dude, when you have notes and then it becomes a physical thing.
Yep.
When you have an idea, you have a mic in front of you with headphones on, interviewing these amazing designers.
Yeah.
What? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you are an educator. Like you almost have to find these little successes during your whole life. I'm constantly having to find that, right? I'm constantly having to
Yeah.
program my thinking when I'm on Instagram, seeing other people's shit.
Right.
I have to constantly, okay, that's
Yeah.
my life. That's their shit.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I have to find my successes in all the smaller things that I've done up until this point. The fact that I'm still able to do I literally have been doing this. I designed my first business card in 93
Wow.
in shop class at Garringer High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. Shop class. I designed my business card. And I learned about electronic mail. 1993, I learned about there's this thing called electronic mail. My shop teacher.
Right. Yeah.
I'm designing something on a typewriter, business card in shop class.
Wow. Man, that's crazy.
That's
That is
crazy, dude.
Yeah. Wow.
How things change so much in 30,
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah. They coming up with new stuff every day.
10 years, how things change. So it's just going to become faster and faster and faster, right?
100%.
And so I find success is doing it every day, man. I wake up, you know what I'm saying? I'm alive. I'm healthy. My son is doing good. I can hit the gym. I got videos.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's all
Yeah. The little wins.
the little wins, man.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man, that's real good. So let's have a little fun here.
Okay.
What's a design trend you hate right now?
Whew. Those frames that has a little loop, the little it goes into the face.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's going to be fun to put up. Yeah. That.
Why does they do that? Like it's not even you have to make the thing fit inside of the little.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
Oh
about.
my god, why? It's Canva ass.
Yeah.
Well, I will say about
Here's another one.
their background drop out in Canva.
Easy. The cleanest.
That
The
shit is
cleanest.
clean.
It's even better than Adobe Photoshop and even their Adobe not fireworks. What is it? The Express, yes, where you can like literally use Adobe's AI in their Express. It's way better. And I was like, damn.
So in my last job, I was using Canva for the first time. I'm like, oh man, okay, I get it now. But yeah, those little
Yeah.
I don't get those frames where it's going into the I don't get it. Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, next one. Favorite hip hop album cover.
Okay, this is random, but this is the first thing came to my mind. Dawes Effects, the first album cover.
Really?
Dude, the composition on that bad boy, the spacing.
Wow.
Like, so I believe Scoob or Books is in the front where you just see like the side of his face really in front.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Dre's in the back, kind of like standing like this. And their logo is like the spacing on that boy. Woo! The colors, that green and that the kind of a purple hue on their face.
Yeah. My favorite, I'm not even gonna hold you, the AT Aliens. I love that cover. I don't know why, but I think it's the graffiti artist in me that I'm just like, that is fire. I love
Dude,
it.
so I lived in Atlanta when that album was done. A friend of mine was this dude I went to the college with, the same art school. He was doing we gave him all the props because he was doing work for LaFace.
Oh, okay.
He was there, like he was in those offices because their offices was right across the street from our school, the Orange City of Atlanta. And so I don't know if he worked on that cover with that artwork, but yeah, yeah. That's
All right. A book every designer should read.
the history of graphic design. I think
Hey.
it's at home. Yeah, the history of graphic design.
Okay. Last one. Your dream project you haven't done yet, or your dream project if money is not an option.
I want to design a book for DJ Premier.
Oh.
I want to tell his story, dude. I want to sit with him for a year,
Yeah. And just collect as much as you can.
as much as I can, and do this big old picture, like picture book design. Like I want to do that. He
Oh.
is deserving of that level of attention, focus. He needs that.
Yeah.
Like that, because he always have stories. He always have these beautiful stories, right? And what's interesting about him is that he's, for the most part, is producing the same way he's always produced. His style has not really changed. Everybody that's ever on his beat, no matter where coast you're from,
Yeah.
always come with the A game. Always.
They have to. They have to.
But they want, like, they want a primo beat. They want that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He is probably one of the most important producers. I mean, people say Dr. Dre, whoop through yada yada, but Premier though,
His sound.
his
Yeah.
arrangements, his thump, his bounce.
Yep.
I mean, he's one of my favorite producers of all time. But Premier, man, I want to do his. I want to design his book. I want to design his. It'll be probably a Bible, right?
Yeah.
His whole
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I may just reach out to him, dude. I may just.
I would.
I'd
It
be-
doesn't. I do it. Do it. It does not hurt, and I would wholeheartedly want to encourage that and support that, because that reminds me of Cey Adams, how he did the 50 years of hip hop, how he designed that whole cover and book. Because when I spoke to him, he said that he was like, it's only right they come to me. I designed the whole hip hop album covers for the genre, and I was like, you did not lie there. You really did. So, man, that would be dope. That would be so incredible. They should definitely you should definitely do it. Put it on your to-do list and just send the email.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, man. So as we bring this to a close, how can people support you, support Umber, and stay connected with you?
So definitely go to thisisunber.com. You'll see some. I have some articles from our previous issues there. And when the website is rebranded, the website is going to stay the same with the URL. There's definitely a space where you can support Umber, if you want to, not bank account, PayPal, all this stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
Sign up for our newsletter at thisisunber.com. And just, you can go on our Instagram, that's fine. But really, the good stuff is on the website. Good stuff is on the website.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would say that.
So how do people find you? How do people find you personally? Is it through Umber, or do you have your own setup? Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a kind of one-page site. Thisismikenicholls.com. So this is Mike, NICHOLLS.com. There you'll learn a little bit more about me, my journey. And so, but the Umber this is Umber, this is all or nothing for Umber, man. I'm going all in. I mean, I'm still doing design work, client work, we keep things flowing, but Umber is the jam, man. So that's
good. That's a good
focal point, man.
So before I let you go, do you happen to have any additions on you to show us
Yes.
of Umber? Yeah, let's see a few of them.
So this is the wealth issue.
Oh, yeah. Right there. Perfect.
So
And you designed all of it.
all of it, all of this,
Oh, man.
all of this,
That is beautiful.
all of this. And so when Umber was printed in black and brown ink, right? And to keep costs down, but still to what the further the point of black and brown. And our next, when Umber comes out next, it'll be in full color next year.
Beautiful.
So full color,
Beautiful.
making that shift. So yeah, this one was great. This artist is incredible. His name is Hunter Saxony. He does this incredible, this dude paint this stuff. I had to convert it to black and brown ink, but it usually works in black and red. He's based in San Francisco. He's just an incredible calligrapher. I guess is what you call it. Look at this.
Yeah.
Just really, that's all by hand.
Oh, wow.
All by hand.
That looks good. I love that.
Yeah, man. So this is a wealth issue. I have also, I mentioned before, a sound issue.
Okay.
Kind of really dope.
Oh, nice.
Still black and brown.
Yeah.
That's some gold foil for the symbol there.
Yeah.
Extra stuff right there. Down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's just
Oh, that's nice. Wow. That's incredible, man. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
I was like, I need to show y'all what I'm working with as a designer. I play no games. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness, that looks so good. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. You got to bring that back. That's going to be fire.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's going to be fire.
So
cool. Well, you guys, thank you for listening to the podcast today. My name is Justin Robinson. I had the great Mike, the all-inclusive, can do anything, design creative Swiss Army knife, Nicholls. And this is the Art School Graduate Podcast. We'll catch y'all later, you guys. Peace.